Well, unfortunately, you have two lefts. Okay. No, you don't. This one's the right one. This one's the right one. This one's the left one. Okay, clavicle. Okay, the blunt end is the sternal end. This is going to articulate in that clavicular notch on the manubrium up here. Okay, this end over here, this flattened end, this is the acromion process. This always points to the front. It's pointing forward. Okay, down here is the what am I looking for? Tubercle. I just don't want to miss any of these things. Keep going. One more. There we go. Okay, yep, so the conide tubercle is this thing right here, this little pointy part sticking down here. And then the costal tuberosity is right here under the sternal end. So that's going to sit right on top of that first rib. Okay? So this would be a right clavicle. Okay? This one, on the other hand, would be a left clavicle. Okay? And again, if you're getting confused with right and lefts, you're going to circle it. At the end, you're going to go back and you're going to look at that fully articulated skeleton. It's going to be at station 1. You're going to take a good look at that, and then you're going to come back and you're going to be able to tell if it's right or left. Okay? So don't sweat that. All right, scapula. First thing you notice, the big spine on the scapula. That's on the dorsal side, on the back of the scapula. It's this big spine. Okay? That spine kind of flattens out here. This is the acromion process on the scapula. Okay? And you have this nice little cavity right here. This is the glenoid cavity. That's where the humerus is going to attach. Okay? You have the humerus, the arm right there. And above the glenoid, you have the coracoid process. Okay, that's the coracoid. So the spine, the acromion, the coracoid, the glenoid. Okay? So if the spine is on the back and my arm articulates here, this would have to be a
right or left?
Left. It would have to be left. If it was on the right side, my arm coming out of the middle of my back. Right?
Yeah.
So this is a left scapula. Okay? So if this is a left scapula, this would be the lateral border, this would be the medial border. Right? Makes sense? Right? Makes sense? Okay. Then we have 3 fossas. We have the supra and infraspinatus fossa. Spinatus refers to the spine. Okay, supra means above, infra means below. So this would be a supra, above the spine, fossa. Right? Supraspinatus fossa. Infraspinatus fossa, below the spine. And then the subscapular fossa is on the anterior side, the front side. That's right here. It's the subscapular fossa. Okay? All right. What's next? Humerus. Humerus. So in anatomical position, the humerus is your upper arm bone, right? And then in your lower arm, there's 2 bones. The medial bone in anatomical position is the ulna, and the lateral bone is the radius. Okay, so we're going to look at that upper arm bone first, that radius. The ball is the head of the radius, the head of the humerus. Okay, and that's going to articulate nicely into that glenoid, right? Okay, so that's the head. The anatomical neck is just around the head. This is the anatomical neck. Okay, the surgical neck would be the whole thing. The whole top off. Okay? This is the shaft or the body of the bone. On the bottom we have this rounded projection on the bottom of the bone. What's that called? The rounded projection at the end of the bone is a...
I want to say a notch, but I don't think I'm right.
Condyle. That's a condyle. Okay? Now the condyle has 2 parts. Okay? The medial half of the condyle here, this more rounded one, that's called the capitulum. That's on the medial side. On the lateral side, this one that looks more like a little ridge over here, this is the trochlea.
Sorry.
It's deja vu. Okay? So this is the capitulum, this is the trochlea. Okay? Also on the front, you see this little fossa right here? That's the cornoid fossa. Okay? And then there's this little indent above the capitulum. It's really hard to even call it a fossa, but this little indent right there is the radial fossa. Okay? And one more fossa. If we turn the bone around on the back, we have a great big fossa back here. That's the olecranon fossa. That's where your elbow is going to go. Okay? And then lastly, we have the epicondyles, which we know are raised areas above a condyle, right?
Yep.
This little one over here is the medial epicondyle, right here. The larger one, did I do that? No, this is the lateral epicondyle over here. The larger one points to the medial side. This is the medial epicondyle. Okay, so if we know this is the medial side, because this is the trochlea and this is the medial epicondyle, this has to articulate with your scapula. The only way that would work is if this were a right humerus. Make sense? Okay? All right. The radius. Got my own. I will need the ulna. Okay, radius. So radius is an anatomical position. Radius is that lateral bone in your lower arm. Okay? So here's the radius. The flat top here, that's the head of the radius. Below the head is the neck of the radius. Below the neck is this roughened area here. That's the tuberosity, radial tuberosity. Okay? On the other end of the bone, we have this little pointy projection here. That's called the styloid. And on the opposite side from the styloid, we have this little notch. That's the ulnar notch. Okay, anywhere where you see one of these little notches or little flat surfaces, it means there's another bone that's going to articulate next to that. Okay? So on the radius, the styloid process always points to the thumb. Okay? So this is going to be pointing, this is going to be on the thumb side, and then the ulna is going to sit here, which is the medial bone anyway, right? Yep. The only way that's going to work is if I put this on the left. Right? So now the styloid is pointing to my left, and then this is going to accommodate my ulna on the medial side. Okay? All right. And then we look at the ulna, which is the right here in front of me. The ulna, which is the medial bone of your lower arm. Okay? This big notch up here, by the way, this is the head of the ulna down here on the opposite side. I don't know why they do that, just because. Okay, up here, this is the trochlear notch, this big notch right here. The top part of the notch is the olecranon process. Okay? The bottom part of the notch is the coronoid process. Okay, so trochlear notch, olecranon, coronoid. Okay? The radial notch and the styloid process. So on the other end of the ulna, you also have a styloid. Okay? And up here, you also have this flat area right here. That's the radial notch. That's the styloid down here. Okay? The styloid on the ulna points to the pinky. And we know the radial notch has to accommodate that lateral bone. And this is your elbow. So the only way all that stuff would work is if I had this on the left side. Right? Now it's pointing to my pinky. I can put my lateral radius right here, and then this is going to be my elbow. Just like that. Okay? So if we were to put these together, they're going to sit something like, not exactly, because they don't exactly fit, but it's going to be something like this.
It goes like this.
Okay? These don't exactly fit together, but you get the idea.
So ulna, pinky, radius, thumb.
Got it. Yep. And then you just look for these notches.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? You good?